Ready for one of the more confusing features of the Alchemist Code? Well, strap those gems in and ready your gear because now I'll be covering Weapon Enlightenment. Now, if you thought Unit Enlightenment was confusing, Weapon Enlightenment is bound to be even more so. But not because it's more detailed. It's actually less complicated than Unit Enlightenment, but more confusing because the game doesn't force us to learn it. Granted, that's because it's not as necessary as Unit Enlightenment. But even so, taking this opportunity now could save your team in the future. Somehow. Probably. Maybe? Regardless, let's start with the basics. The only gear that can be enlightened right now are weapons. And of the many weapons we have in the Alchemist Code, the only weapons that can be enlightened are swords, staffs, and rods. Once a weapon has been enlightened, it gains a certain skill. This skill will be random, and there are quite a few skills out there. Not to mention there's a hidden skill tier tree too. But how do you get a skill? To do so, your weapon must first be eligible for enlightenment, meaning that it has to be denoted with a shiny blue frame and has reached level 30. Once that has been achieved, simply equip a unit with that weapon and smack an enemy with it. Eventually, you should unlock a skill. Though, as with all things, there is a distinguishable pattern. Some skills require certain prerequisites to be fulfilled in order to be unlocked. Other skills are as simple as hitting an enemy. But others may require that you use a specific unit and/or a specific job. You might even have to attack a specific enemy or type of enemy to unlock a skill. Or it's something completely ridiculous that not only depends on your unit's level but perhaps the enemy's level. Or it might even depend on something over the top like the very stage the battle is taking place. To make matters more complicated, the actual skills are unlocked by tiers. Thankfully, there are only 3 tiers so far, though they aren't as organized as you might hope. In this video, I'll be covering the skills for swords, rods, and staffs. If other weapons get introduced, I'll cover them in a future video, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated. Now, while swords, rods, and staffs are different weapons in the Alchemist Code, rods and staffs are essentially treated the same. Not quite sure why, but it does make it less complicated for me, so I'm cool with it. Let's begin with the basics. Swords. Unlocking the skills on the first tier for swords is simple. Take a sword and smack an enemy. Eventually, you'll unlock one of 3 skills. Here's where things get confusing. There's a hidden skill tree that charts out a path for each future skill. Generally, a powerful tier 3 skill is probably your end goal, so you have to make sure you're following the correct path to secure your efforts. Here's a chart featuring the hidden skill tree. Skills that are between 2 preceding tiers can be unlocked by possessing either skill. The ones that require a single necessary skill come directly after it. I won't bother you with all the details, so make sure to comment below if you have a specific question. So let's get into the meat of the sandwich. Apologies if you don't eat meat. Which skills should you be aiming for? There are many powerful skills here, so let's go over them. One of the most valuable skills is called Ultimate Execution. It's a dark slash attack on an enemy unit, and greatly lowers their probability of activating reactions for 3 turns. To get it, you have to equip Excalibur on a dark unit. This is great in PvP and other hard quests. Other notable attacks deal more damage based on the enemy's unit's homeland, which could potentially prove useful in hard quests and raids. Rods and staffs are basically interchangeable. It doesn't matter which one you attack an enemy with, you'll gain a skill regardless. You don't have to literally smack an enemy though, casting magic on them will work too. Of course, some skills require specific paths to follow, so make sure you take a good look at this list. While all tier 3 skills are good, some are much more useful than others. Scattering Crystal is a water magic attack on units within an area, and lowers all of the defense for fire units for 3 turns. The downside is that it can only be used by Optima, though anyone with the jobs Sage in the Karnak form, Luminous Immortal, and Blue Ice General can unlock it while they are holding the Illusion Rod. Another excellent attack is Soundless Thunder, which, if you couldn't guess from the name, deals Thunder magic attack on an enemy unit. and lowers all defense for targeted water units for 3 turns. It can only be used by Dark Phantom Athema, and in case you didn't know, I don't have Dark Phantom Athema. But anyone of the job Sage in the Monolith form, Night Agent, or Greedy Phantom Master can grab the Illusion Rod and smack anyone to get it. There are also other nice skills that provide a lot of benefits in this game, though there aren't any more that can lower the enemy's defense. Regardless, I believe that these 3 skills that I have mentioned are top priority, as they are especially useful in challenge quests or raids. If you wish, you may level up these skills once you get them by using them in battle. But that's only if you're lucky. It has a very small chance of leveling up. It seems like the chance of this happening is far lower than pulling a featured unit on a featured banner, as I don't have a single skill at level 2. Also, be aware that skills aren't automatically set for a weapon the moment you learn them. To do so, you must first go to Gear, then Enlightened Skill to select the gear, and go under the Enlightened Skill tab on the gear detail screen to set the skill. Until you set the skill, it will not show up as an option to use in combat. In case you were worried, setting the skill will not prevent you from learning new skills or resetting the skill if you need to. Why would you reset a skill? Well, I did mention that skills are determined on a skill tree. Because skills can be acquired randomly, you may get a skill other than the one you wanted. If so, make sure to reset the skill in the Gear, then Enlightened Skill section, so that you can continue working to get the skill you desire. You can reset the skill 1 level at a time. For example, if it's a level 2 skill that you wish to reset, you don't have to reset it to level 0. You can go back to the level 1 skill and start from there. Skills are a lot more useful than they initially seem, though it doesn't mean that they are absolutely necessary. Regardless, it doesn't take any extra work to unlock a skill, though getting a specific tier 3 skill may require some forethought and awareness. But this kind of thinking can help us outside of the Alchemist Code, and encourage us to be just a bit more aware of our position so we can capitalize on any situation that we can. Thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Comment below on your thoughts on Enlightened skills, and feel free to ask any questions if you have any.